economy ticket had been bumped to first class. What? All the way to New Orleans, I think, first class. This is the way to travel. Yeah. Now, I had wanted to have a nice experience, so I sort of treated myself a little bit and said, you know, when I arrive, I think rather than look for a taxi, I'm gonna go a little bit further, and I'm gonna have a town car come pick me up. I thought, wouldn't this be sweet? You know, a little driver standing there with the sign, you know, Dr. Carney, you know, and then take me out to the car and take me down to my hotel. And we're walking out into the parking lot, and I'm kind of looking around, and I'm not seeing a town car. And we're walking over to this section. Believe it or not, 3 stretch limos are parked here. And I'm thinking, no way. If I'd have known that, I'd have brought a party. I'm sitting in the back of this stretch limo because that's what they had available, so they bumped me up to the stretch. I'm like sitting in the back. I'm going, so how's the weather out there? It's like me and the driver and the stretch limo. And then while we were at the airport, the drivers were talking to other drivers because it's Mardi Gras. And they have parades 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, starting in January all the way up through Tuesday. And wouldn't you know it, the hotel where the convention on is right on Canal Street, right where all the parades are going. And all of the drivers are really concerned because you can't get in. If you don't make it in between, you know, when the last parade ended and the next parade begins, you cannot get in. And there were people that were being dropped off 2 and 3 blocks away from the hotel and had to walk in. My limo pulls up in front of the hotel of which I am parking because he knew how to get there. And I was like, somewhat disappointed because there was nobody there to see me arrive. Which is probably a good thing because we had just received a tithe from home office for the 5 Gifts program. And if I'd have showed up in a stretch limo, they would have figured that's where I spent the money. But it's in the consciousness, in what you create. And so I was having an experience, and I walked in, and I was using my timeshare, so I wasn't actually in the Sheraton where the convention was. I was across the street in my timeshare. And Paul and I were going to share a room. And I checked into the room, and Paul arrives the next day, and I'm like, I thought that I had booked a 1-bedroom suite, and what I gotten was a studio suite. It was still a suite. It had a great view, and it was still nice. And I thought, but a little cramped, you know, but that's okay. You know, so far, things have been really good. Paul checks in the next day. They give him the 1-bedroom suite. So now we have separate suites. This is how it works, people. If you are using these principles, if you are calling into the subjective mind, and the subjective mind is the universal mind, it's where we all tap into, each and every one of us. So you have your individual mind, and your personality, and your space, and your consciousness, and if you're playing small in that personality, if you're playing small in that mindset, if you're playing small in that idea of who you are, then that's what you are creating. And you have the opportunity to open it up. You have the opportunity to stand tall, to declare the truth of who you are. You are the gift of God in this experience, having this life. Our youth know this. The children and the youth that are being brought through the movement that we know as Science of Mind already know this. We knew this. We knew this once. And we allowed ourselves to get distracted. We allowed ourselves to get waylaid. We allowed ourselves to get off track because no one was saying to us, there's a better opportunity, there's a greater life, there's a stronger future ahead of us. We were hearing messages from a point of evolution that needed to happen, but it was so done. I recall, and I love my parents, they were absolutely doing everything that they were supposed to do and the way that they were supposed to do it. But often I heard this message as I was graduating from high school and kind of moving into my awkward stage. Well, I was already there, but expressing more of my awkwardness. And my parents kept saying, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go in your life? You know, and I had thought that, well, this is the way it works. It's like you're 18, you move out of home, you live for a while, and then you move back. You know? And then you're 21, so you move out of home, and you stay for a while, and then you move back. You know, and then you're 33 and you move out of home. You know, so I thought that's the way it was working. You know, until one day I began to wake up and I began to realize I was responsible for my life. That my parents were always my parents, but they were not the ones responsible for my life. They had done their work. Their work was good, and their work was complete, and their work was done. The only thing left they had to do was to continue to love me. It's the love. It's the love that we give. It's the love that we share that makes the difference in the world. We need to love ourselves well enough so that we can love each other. Well enough so that we can love back. If nothing else, when you leave today, in your heart, in your mind, and in your soul, take the love with you, for you, as you. And when you have the opportunity to look someone else in the eye, you don't have to say anything. Just be in that place of love. Be in that place of oneness. Be in that place that we know that the truth is that we are the gift of God, living the experience and the life of who we are. How good this is. It is good and very good. So let's reflect upon this love. Let's take an opportunity to go within. And if you feel so comfortable and secure, to close your eyes and take a few nice deep breaths and relax and rest in the arms and the love of God. Dear Lord, may I love myself so much today that I can love each and every person sitting before me. Love them so much that they begin to love themselves. In a way in which they can then in return love me. May they love themselves so much